There are 4 questions that must be answered in your life. The sooner you answer them, the better your life will be. And this is truth. This is reality. We all are in search for what is true, what is right, what is wrong. The first one that we're going to deal with is, how did we get here on earth? That's like the most important question. How did we get here? Because that will determine how we spend our lives. If we think that we are a cosmic accident and nothing really matters, then we could do a bunch of things that bring chaos to the earth. But right there, the idea of chaos will, to me, proves that there has to be a God. How did we get here? This is a question I've asked. I've lived almost half of a century, and I want you to ask that question. I like the Socratic method, Socrates. He would ask people questions and make them, encourage them to think for themselves. And so in life, it's something that I've had to ask. I've had very difficult times. And so I've had to ask myself, how did I get here? Is there really a God? And growing up, my mom believed in God. My parents believed in God, but they didn't live like it. So I had that kind of foundation where, okay, I do believe that there's a God, but that has been challenged so many times in my life because this life is not easy. I had to come up with my own reasons why I believe that there is a creator. Remember, this is the number one question, is how did we get here? I am not a scholar in these areas. I haven't devoted my life to it. I'm a musician, writer. I love teenagers. I work with kids. So that's what I've devoted my life to, but it doesn't matter what you devote your life to. This is something that you have to answer. And so if you want more information on it, I really recommend like Daily Dose of Wisdom. It's just got really good information that helps you to sort out what you believe about God and creation and the Bible and all these things. And so I really like that. YouTube, it's great. Thank you, Daily Dose of Wisdom. So go to that. But I'm just going to tell you like my train of thought for this, because I want you to know. I don't care how old you are. The younger, the better. If you're older and you're just thinking about it, great. It doesn't matter. We just have to come to certainty within ourselves, because we want to know, how did we get here, right? It is knowable, okay? I believe with all of my heart, 100%. I have no doubt, just to let you know. What I'm telling you, I believe 100%. There's not just like a little splinter of, well, I hope so, and I guess I'll find out one day, when I die, then I'll know if it's really true. No, I believe 100% now, and I want you to get to that point. It gives you clarity. It gives you peace. It gives you certainty, and certainty is so important. Another book I recommend is Josh McDowell's In Search of Certainty. This guy, man, so smart. And that book really just enlightened me. I read it years ago, and I've been reading and searching these things out for years so that I can be certain of what I believe. So, why do I believe that there's a God? One of the biggest things to me is looking at the order around me. Like every day the sun comes up. If there was some cosmic explosion, how would that have happened? The sun being in the perfect position to warm us yet not scorch us. And the earth having exactly what we need to live. Oxygen, we have to have oxygen to breathe. It wasn't like a underwater submersion. The evolutionists believe that it started and then they eventually developed lungs and crawled out. And I'm like, really? I had a daughter that was in the hospital and she was born. And that's another reason I believe the God of the Bible. And I will tell you that in future events, future videos. But every time they did something, like gave her a drug to help with one thing, they said, well, it will affect this system, and this system. Every system in our body functions based on a group of organs that work together. Like your heart is not going to just work by itself without the lungs pumping oxygen into it. And then the oxygen is pumped back through the blood is oxygenated, then pumped back into the heart, and then goes into your body and brings all the nutrients. I mean, this is an intricate system. And every time they would give her something, they would say, well, this is going to affect this, so we have to give her this, we have to monitor that. And I had thought about this before, but her being in the hospital just really, pardon me, I had some crackers and butter. Butter's good, butyric acid, you know, it's good for your intestines and stuff. Have you heard of that? All of these things that we learn and we know on this earth, it's obvious that there is order, okay? If you do certain things, there's going to be consequences, right? Why do we all desire morality? Like kindness, not lying, not stealing, not killing? Because society doesn't work when you have disorder. The order of the systems of our body, the order that is all around us, to me is evidence that there has to be a creator. In some of the hardest times of my life, I mean, I was really struggling emotionally. And I would just have to go back to the basics and be like, well, how do I know that there is a God? Because my life does not seem like he really cares about me. This is why people become agnostics. You know, they think that God created the earth and then he just stepped back and let us do whatever. And I don't believe that, but it's understandable why some people think that, because of the, you know, things that people do to others, and there's a spiritual aspect that you can't see that does affect us. But remember, the number one question, aside from every other line of thought, this cannot be emotional. It can't be emotional. It can't be based on feelings or even experiences, really, like bad experiences. This has to be just a rational, like, look around at everything and look at the order. Look at how we procreate. Nothing is just spawning. It's not like Minecraft where you can just do like spawn. You give the panda some food and then, well, you have a baby. You know, it doesn't work like that. There is order and there's a process in which things are done, and babies are developed with like 9 months approximately. And it's this perfect human being. Now we're putting all the other thoughts aside, right? Like imperfections and all of this stuff that happens. We'll explain that later. I'll explain it and give you just food for thought. I want you to think about it for yourself. Truth. The number one question you have to ask is, how did I get here? Because this is going to be the foundation of everything else you believe in life. This is going to determine what you believe, what you do, your peace. And if you can be at peace with this, it makes life so much easier. Knowing that you were created, right there. If you know that, and then you can ask all the other questions. But first, you have to ask yourself, do I really believe in creation? You can think of all the other possibilities. Evolution, I've thought about it in detail, and it just does not logically make sense to me, nor millions of others. And even scientists right now are saying that evolution is too simplistic of a theory, that if there's no God, there has to be something else. A lot of people don't want the God in the God equation, because then there's accountability. But to me, it's awesome. I mean, I don't want to just like go back to the earth. Like, I am here and I am, just to not be. Can you imagine that? Just to not exist anymore? Like, if you've had a lot of pain and struggle, even then you still want to be. You just want to be happy and peaceful. So think about these questions. What I want you to do, your assignment, is write on a piece of paper all the reasons why you believe you've been created, or whatever else it is. Discover what you believe. You need to figure it out for yourself. You know, I've talked to so many people on the streets, and an older man I talked to, and I was telling him about creation, and he said, well, I don't believe that because the scientists say. And it was just sad to me, because I'm like, the scientists say, what do you say? What have you discovered? What have you thought? and seeing what conclusions do you come to. Not just the scientists who you never know what their agenda is. You know, some of them are, they have an agenda just to keep people confused and to exalt their studies, human reasoning over what is true. And it's kind of ironic in a way because we are reasoning right now. But I want you to take everything that you've heard and really think about it, okay? And I will listen to scientists, I'll listen to the things they say, and I'll think about it and then draw my own conclusion. That's the beauty of being an autonomous human. You can come up with your own conclusion. So what is your conclusion? I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why I believe. How much is this? 10:48. I wanted it to be a little shorter, but whatever. Why I believe I've been created. This is just a quick list. The complexity of the human body, the order of seasons, plants, and the predictability. Every day the sun comes up, the moon. We have predictability in life. You can determine weather systems because you can look and see, oh, what's coming, and then you know what's going to happen. Society doesn't work with chaos. We all agree people shouldn't be able to kill, steal, lie. We all agree on some form of morality. For life to exist, we need oxygen, food, the sun. We can procreate. That right there is huge if you just think about that whole process. Like, how did that evolve? Nothing is randomly appearing. The most amazing computer does not compare to the human brain. The eye, like even a camera, have you looked at the complexity of the human eye? And then the cameras are not even close to how we see and how our brain works. It's amazing. And it's encouraging because then you can know for sure, yeah, I believe in creation. We have memories, love, anger, remorse. I am complicated physically, mentally, emotionally. The world is complex. It's a complex system that works. There's no way that this was an accident, that I am an accident. There's just too much order. So I'm going to leave you with that. The truth, the pillars of truth. Ask yourself, what do I believe? How did I get here? Because it's really going to be just you. At the end of your life, it's you and what you believe and what you think. It doesn't matter what anybody else has said. What do you know for a fact? All right, thanks for listening to me. It's really hot, so I found a cool place on the camp. But I really care about you guys, and I care about you knowing what you believe. Really knowing and digging into it, and not just taking what other people have said as truth, but evaluate it, okay? Think for yourself, all right?